I just feel like at some point, if you're honest with me, at some point you have to look in the mirror and just decide to do it.
Yeah, I just think it wasn't as fearful to me. You know what I mean? Well, what happens if a joke doesn't work? Awkward silence, no laughter. Do you die? Do you get shot? Are you bleeding? Did somebody die? You know what I mean? So I just never saw it as this like scary thing. I've always been a person that's very comfortable with who I am and in my skin, and awkward moments don't bother me. Once you get over that mental loop, you're really free up there. I think being a bad comedian is tough for sure. That's just, but luckily it's not my life. You know what I mean? I think that looks horrible. That looks terrifying. You know what I mean? But
Hey, welcome to an episode of Growth Snacks. Today, my guest is Chinedu Unaka. He's actually one of my oldest friends and a resilient comedian. Here's what I love about comics. I think comics can teach us so much about anything. Whether you're getting on stage or running a business, it is an ego-fracturing experience, and who knows more about resilience and getting over ego than a comic. So in this conversation, we learned about the mindset it takes to stand up on stage, getting over yourself, and just the mindset it takes to keep getting after it, even when the results are coming in slow. So if that sounds interesting to you and there might be something valuable for you, then this is the episode you want to hear. Like and subscribe before we get started. That being said, let's hop on in. We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
What was your major when you first came to college? What was your major?
Well, I took econ for one class. Remember he looked like Scrooge McDuck? Remember that guy?
Oh, I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Really old professor, used a projector.
Yeah.
Horrible handwriting. I couldn't understand one word he was saying. He was like, the man is supplier, the supplier, the man. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And so
I was in that class with you. We were sitting in the back.
Yeah, I think I finished the class. Yeah. And then I was done with econ mentally. And then from there, I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. And then I landed on sociology because it was malleable. I felt like, okay, cool, I could go be a lawyer, my mom and dad were social workers, so then maybe I'll go into that field, maybe education or whatever.
You've always been funny to me, right? Mm-hmm. And we were pranksters.
Yeah.
But when did you, because I don't remember the moment. Like we were in a hip hop group for a little bit.
You were in that group. Did you ever have a verse?
Yeah.
You had a verse on Top Mission?
Man, yeah, I have multiple songs at Top Mission. I was on
this
stage.
Is not
I
true.
got pictures.
Really?
Yes.
I thought the original,
I wasn't one of the originals.
The original was me, Ivo, Chris.
I lasted like a month.
Then we had Josh. Yeah, and that was it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Dang, I forgot to
Do
Brian.
the fans know about Top Mission?
My fans?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't really talk about it. I try not to talk about it.
Why?
It might be the title.
Because what?
Mission unaccomplished.
But isn't comedy about what makes you uniquely human?
I'm not against talking about it. Was for me, it wasn't like I wanted to be a rapper. I was doing it because one of my best friends was rapping and I happened to be decent at it. You know what I mean? And so that's why it was just fun. But that's also kind of what made me comfortable on stage. That helped make me comfortable. But that's a lot easier to do than comedy.
Because you're there with multiple people.
You have the music playing. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
There's other things to look at, but you got shades on. You know what I mean? People don't necessarily need to be paying attention for it to go well, right? You could be at a music concert, be on your phone. It doesn't mean the guy on stage is bad. But stand-up comedy is so reciprocal between the performer and the audience. And so you have to be very present. They have to be very present. That's what makes comedy special and probably the trickiest of all the performance base. A, you got to get good in public. And then B, you depend on the audience. The audience has such a stake in what you do up there, where you go next, how you say the next joke, if you move on, you know what I mean, if you live in it a little bit longer. So it's very much, comedians depend more on the audience than I think any other art form.
Well, when I think about being a comedian, it's most people are terrified to get on stage. First, it's like one of the biggest fears people have. Like they would rather fall off a bridge than get on stage in front of people.
Yeah.
Then to get on stage in front of people and try to be funny.
Yeah.
And make them laugh, because it's not just you being funny. Like they got shit going on in their life and they might not want to laugh today, right? Yeah. So you're meeting all that. But like when I go, like you started in college, like and I've never asked you this. I've known you for so long, but when did you look in the mirror and just decide, hey, I'm gonna go try this?
Well, it was like three, because it wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna do this for a living,
Right.
right? When I started, I was gonna try it. I was kind of thrown into it. We was rapping on talent show, right? I remember it was like my second or third year in college, and then we finished. It went well. Cindy was doing stand up. I don't know if you remember Cindy, Nigerian
Yeah,
Cindy.
I do.
She was
Yeah.
doing stand up that night. She was bombing. It's going really bad. Dion was a person always in my head about I need to try stand up. He happened to be sitting next to me that day. You know, Dion's an asshole. So he's kind of making fun of her in my ear about what's going on, which making it harder for me to hold in my laughs. But I also I think me laughing is helping her. So I laugh out loud. Dion's laughing. I think I'm helping with the environment because it's just awkwardly silent. She takes offense to my laughter. And she's like, Chinedu thinks he's funny. Why don't you come up here
She said that to you on stage?
on stage? And Dion was like, man, if you don't get up there, yo, punk. I'm like, that's not how this works. But I don't know if it was because I just finished being on stage doing music, or what got into me, or because she's challenging me in front of everybody. So I think that kind of released the pressure of like me walking up there and trying stand up. It was like I was dared. And so I walked on stage, I grabbed a mic from her. Were you there that day?
No.
Yeah, this is a true story. So I grabbed a mic from her. I'm like, I had nothing to say. I had no jokes. I was like, give it up for Cindy. She's just trying to buy some time. Nobody claps. I'm like, great. I was trying to think, what can I say? I was like, oh, it's Mother's Day weekend. I was like, yo, happy Mother's Day weekend. Where are my mothers at? Make some noise. Nobody claps. I'm like, good. We in college, you whores. And the crowd just like laughs super hard. I dropped the mic because I'm smart. Say goodnight. And I walk off stage.
So that was your first.
Yeah. And the fact that like that wasn't planned, it got such a big applause or whatever laughter, pop of laughter that in my head I was like, oh shit, I think my humor off stage could maybe translate on stage. So that's when I started considering trying it. Then randomly I saw a post on Facebook, and that's a longer story. That's when I started. My first show was in NoHo. Yeah.
Your first show was in NoHo.
Yeah. I don't know if you went, but I literally saw like a Facebook post 2 days later, never seen anything about stand-up ever on my feed. It's like looking for comedians to open up my comedy spot, you know, whatever, / after party. I hit the guy up. I was like, yo, I'm a comedian. He's like, great, you're booked. I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? In my head, I'm like, if he just says no, I probably never touch a mic and I just won't go on with my life, you normal person. He's like, great, you're booked. I'm like, okay, all right, well, I believe in like, you know, just kind of going with the wind. And I had 2 weeks. And so I remember the next day I told Dion, I was like, yo, man, I got a show in North Hollywood. He's like, where? He's like, bet I'm going. He's like, how much time you doing? I said, I don't even know. I said, stamp. So I asked him, I'm like, how much time am I doing? He was like, 15 minutes. You need more? I was like, no, that's good. And I didn't realize that was a long time because the only time I watched stand-up comedy was online. Only seen 30 minutes, only seen an hour. So I'm thinking, oh, 15, you just start with 15 minutes. That just seemed normal in my head. Because I didn't know that was a long time for a first time. It wasn't, and to show you how powerful the brain is, that it wasn't like as terrifying as it probably should have been. And so I was like, hey, 15 minutes. I remember the first thing I did, which kind of ramped up the fear. I got my phone out and I sat alone in my dorm room to fill 15 minutes. And I put the timer on. I just sat still. I went to fill every second. Then it was like the clock went off like, fuck.
That's
That's a long time. So I was like, okay, cool. So I had to like start writing jokes, man. I just wrote down everything that ever happened to me that I thought was funny. Then like I just wrote down random things I would say that week. I just started jotting them down. Because I was always saying funny things, but you know, I would just never like write it down. So I started writing it down. And then try to format it into a set. Invited a bunch of college friends, a bunch of high school friends came up, performed. The guy after me, he goes up. I'm sitting in the front row because I know no better. You know, usually performers, you sit in the back or you just leave. And he's like, get up for the last guy. And one of my good buddies, Calvin from high school, is like, it's his first time. It's his first time. He was like, no, it's not his first time. I could tell he genuinely believed it wasn't my first time. And he was like, if it's your first time, you should consider doing this. And then, you know, that's kind of how it started.
That's crazy, man. Like the origin story that people have is always wild. You know, what's actually coming up for me right now too is, I'll be honest, is man, because when we were in college, like because of how my parents were, where they weren't really supportive of me going to school, man. I worked a lot. Like I worked a ton.
Yeah.
I was working like 30 hours a week and full time. And like looking back, man, I miss so many things. Like I miss, like, this is a great example. Like I missed your first show.
Yeah.
I still miss shows, right? Like I still like I didn't even know about the Hulu special until you recorded it. And
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, man, I'm a bad friend.
No.
I know you don't
Everybody got
feel
their
that
own
way, but
lives.
I feel that way. It's something that like when I think forward, like look, when we first sat down today, we were laughing about like what in and out freshman year and
Mhm.
like doing pranks. We were not laughing about homework.
Right.
So like when we're 80, like what are we gonna look back on?
Yeah, it's just the memories. That's all you have, really. Yeah.
The memories. And so even as I sit with you, man, I mean, it's such a reflection of like how much the hustle kind of takes away from like
Yeah.
these experiences that, so my bad I wasn't there at your first. I wish I was. I've been at a lot, but I wasn't there at the first one.
No, it's no big deal. It's all good.
You're kind of saying like there were three phases, right? It was like trying it, right? And then was your second phase like, hey, I'm going to be a teacher and I'm going to do comedy?
Yeah, see, a lot of people think I left teaching to do comedy, but I actually got into teaching to do comedy. I was trying to think of a job I could do that allows me the time to do stand up. I was just walking through the quad, kind of thinking of it. I was like, senior year, like I kind of like stand up. I was doing it maybe 3 times a month, maybe more sometimes. And I was like, I really want to kind of see where this is going. I was making some side money. You know what I mean? I was getting booked by UCSB to perform. I was getting booked through my frat, other colleges to perform. So like, at the very least, it's some really good side money. So I would think, well, I can't be a lawyer. That seems too intense. I got to go to law school again. I kind of want to just like start it right away. I saw Teach for America in the quad. That's why I applied to be a teacher, because they get off at 3. You have summers off, or 3:30. And you have summers off. Like, okay, cool. I think I have enough time. Take a good nap and then get after it at night. And so that's why actually stand up got me into teaching. And because I knew I didn't want to like wait tables or be a bartender, I did have like a big desire to use, if I was going to earn money, I wanted to be like helping people. And so that was one profession I think I could have got in quickly while I grind that stand up at night.
But how much of teaching itself though is, I mean, you went into special ed too, right? So now you're dealing with a group that is, I mean, you've talked about this, that they are inherently funny. Like some of the things they do
Yeah.
is funny. So that helps with comedy. But like how much of being a teacher is, I mean, you're performing, you're trying to get buy-in. You almost have to be, you're half educator, half entertainer almost, right? To keep
Yeah.
them going.
And I didn't realize that like directly until I started the job. But yeah, if you want to be a good teacher, you have to be engaging, especially like when you're dealing with the population I was teaching. Oftentimes you're dealing with students who have like ADHD, they have trouble focusing. So you can't just kind of stand up there, speak in a monotone and just, teach whatever topic you're teaching that day. You got to move around. You got to, change your voice. You got to be entertaining. You got to be engaged, and you got to be able to break the problem down to the smallest increment, and then do it in a way where you could get them back to the actual thing you're trying to teach them. And so that helps with like indirectly kind of with joke writing, right? A lot of times I see comedians, your jokes don't work because the logic is off. You know what I mean? You're not paying attention to the logic. So as soon as the crowd has to think about, well, that doesn't make sense, they're out of it. They can't even enjoy the laugh that might have came because you took them out of it, right? So kind of like working backwards and thinking about, okay, where will the pitfalls of this joke might come? How can I make this clearer as day so the smartest person and the less intelligent person in the room can get this. So that kind of helps me the way I approach my writing. And then also, yeah, stage presence. I think it's harder teaching algebra to kids than it is, telling jokes to drunken adults at 10 p.m. So people say, oh, comedy is scary. Like, nah, teaching is scary.
Okay. All right. So teaching helped.
Yeah.
But when did, look, man, here's why I'm asking.
Mm.
I just can't imagine a tougher career than being a comedian. It is like, there's a ton of people out there trying to do it. Most of them who aren't great, but like a bunch of people think they can do it. It is like the schedule is tough. You're on the road a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's also just this ongoing practice of vulnerability. Like you're being vulnerable on stage over and over and over again. Like, and there's a difference between the jokes and that you rehearse and like those moments where you go off script and where you just kind of take on the audience in different ways, which I've also seen you do. Like it just inherently, it seems like risk after risk after risk after risk. And when you're just getting started, you're getting what, like $25 a show, like $50 a show. Like,
yeah,
I just feel like at some point, if you're honest with me, at some point you have to look in the mirror and just decide to do it.
Yeah. I just think it wasn't as fearful to me. You know what I mean? Well, what happens if a joke doesn't work? Awkward silence, no laughter. Do you die? Do you get shot? Are you bleeding? Did somebody die? You know what I mean? So I just never saw it as this like scary thing. I've always been a person that's very comfortable with who I am and in my skin, and awkward moments don't bother me. You know what I mean? And so once you get over that mental loop, um, you're really free up there. So, I think being a bad comedian is tough for sure. That's just, but luckily it's not my life. You know what I mean? I think that looks horrible. That looks terrifying. You know what I mean? But if a joke doesn't work, it's not because the idea isn't funny. The joke, I just haven't found the right way to say it yet. That's why kind of earlier I said, like, you got to get good in public. Every show is preparing me for the next show. That's the way I approach it. Every show is preparing me for the next show. So if this joke didn't work today, it'll probably work the next show. But I don't know if I don't say it. You know what I mean? And so I think I think if people we all got kind of get over ourselves. If you want to be a comedian, you can't take yourself seriously at all. I think that's the biggest thing. You can't take yourself seriously. And, you realize how small everything is, which helps if you like keep that in mind. Like none of it truly matters in the grand scheme of things. And with that kind of spirit, that part take care of itself.
Yeah, you told me something once that was like, you can feel really unique in the world. And like when you're in your ego, you think like, it's me, I'm here to take over the world, whatever. I'm unique. Army of one, basically.
Yeah.
And then you're like, if you ever want to feel humble, go to a casting call. I remember you told me this. You're like, go to one casting call and see how many people in LA look just like you.
Yeah, not for real. Look just like you, talented as well. But with that said, you are still unique. You are still special. I don't think good comedians like see themselves bigger than their audience. You know what I mean? They really just see themselves in everybody. They see themselves in people's mistakes. They see themselves in people's triumphs. Like, we're all much more alike than we are different. I think what helps my comedy personally is like hanging out with different types of people, having interest in who people are. And then you have to worry about who's in the audience. You see some comics like, oh, is the audience old? Are they young? Are they black? Are they white? I think if you genuinely, see people for their individuality, that's not a worry of yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then that will show through in your writing. That'll show through in your performance.
I can connect with that because when I have to go out and I have to do my trainings, like whether it's a corporate training or a personal development training, and I can feel really, sometimes I don't want to get on stage, right? I'm like, man, I can get really heady. Like, what if they don't move? What if they don't shift? I have to bring a lot of humor in too to create. Yeah. And like I actually realized how funny I was by being a facilitator because I have to make it human.
Yeah.
And what I had to learn was like, whether you're like worth $10 or $10 billion, like there's a 7-year-old child inside of everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that version of you wants to laugh and wants to play and wants to have fun. And if I can like meet you in that version,
yeah,
then it doesn't really matter what you've done with your life. I can meet you in like that the kind of like the base level of like fear and excitement and joy and pleasure. And I think you're kind of saying something similar that like no matter what people have done, like we all have like everybody farts, everybody like burps, everybody, like we all have way more in common than
100%.
All of that. Also, you have like a uniquely Black experience, right? Like you are meeting people, because that's some of the tension I feel. Like, yes, I am a Black male body trainer, mixed Black male body trainer. So when I go do something in Boston, it feels a little different than when I do it in Vegas. It just does.
Yeah.
And so do you ever feel a need to adjust your jokes, or are you just like, I am me, and like that's what you're gonna get?
When I'm talking to an audience of like just or mostly predominantly Black people, there's a little more insider baseball I could play with certain jokes where, my riffs can be more, specific and kind of kind of innuendo type stuff versus in like other audiences, you do have to keep your audience in mind for sure. But I don't think necessarily you have to change who you are. Like I'll see people struggle. Like might be like a white comic first time doing like a predominantly quote unquote Black room. They think they got to bring in this kind of gravitas or this different thing that's not who they naturally are. And then that will bomb versus someone or white comic who's just just going to be his authentic self. I think that's the coolest thing anybody could do is just be their true self, whatever that is. And the audience will get on board. But if you're trying to be like inauthentic and trying to be something you're not, I think people are smart enough to like sift through that and see through that. And a lot of comics don't even realize why this crowd didn't really like me tonight, because like you weren't being true.
Right. You weren't being you.
Yeah, just be you. Be your style of humor, and then they'll get with it. It's not necessarily like, oh, I need to change who I am. I need to be able to explain who I am so well that anybody can get it. You know what I mean?
What do you mean by that? Like, you explain who you are in a way where they get it and they get
Yeah, like you don't need to change who you are. You just need to be able to express and explain how you think and how you feel and what you are clearly. That's the goal. Not necessarily let me change who I am to fit what I think they are. Because oftentimes you're mistaking who they are just by looking at them. You know what I mean? And so it's just about really knowing yourself so well that you can explain it and explain your style of humor, explain your train of thought. I think that's more important than like trying to mold into what they are.
Hulu. When we sat down, I was like, yeah, I watched the Hulu special, and I was about to give you so many flowers for it, and you just went into like all the stuff you didn't like about it.
No, not all. It wasn't a lot of stuff. It was just like small things that I wish I could change, which is like a lot of things are outside of my power. So like the things I loved about it was how beautiful it was shot. I thought the setup was great. I loved that it was a lot of locals. I was scared, like because it was in Vegas, it's gonna be a lot of tourists. I mean, people wouldn't speak English. You know, you never know who could walk into a taping, right? Because the tickets are usually like kind of free. The other thing was that I loved, it was super comfortable, and I think the crowd was ready to receive me. The things I wish I could change was, your first special, not even your first special, but in a comedy special, you kind of want the crowd to be familiar with who you are already, right? But that crowd, I'm not famous. And so that crowd, some people I'm sure knew me, but I feel like the majority of the crowd didn't know me. And so it felt like a normal show where people don't know me, and then I got to win them over. Luckily, I could win crowds over quickly. But then when I started a topic that might be like a little bit more like, oh, where's he going with this? Because they're not familiar with my humor, they don't know I'm always going to be going to a good place, right? There's always going to be good intentions. You have nothing to worry about. So there's some of that in the room, which is not necessarily bad per se, right? Because you can see that this guy can handle that and can, bring a crowd in quickly. But I do one day want to do a special in front of an audience that's very familiar with who I am and see what that energy looks like on camera.
Do you think that it didn't have the right energy?
No, it did. It just had the energy, exactly what I expected to have. This is a regular show, people that don't know you. And then if they have great pops and just great laughter, it's a different laughter, though, when you walk out on stage and every single person in the room knows who you are. It's just a different level.
Well, it's like when Kevin Hart walks on stage.
Yeah, he's fucking famous.
They have an expectation.
100%. He's famous, so they're excited to see him, versus like, you know what I mean? And then they come in like, oh, he's actually funny.
It's sometimes when you have friends that come to a show, I feel like they're going to laugh extra because like they're like I would know the assignment. If I'm going to Chinedu's show and he's shooting a special, I'm going to laugh extra. I've actually been at other people's specials with you and we kind of laugh more because we're trying to support the comedian. Part of me is like, well, the laughter that I saw was like genuine then. Like,
oh, no,
like
for sure.
The show for the first time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It actually makes me feel better because I was like, man, I'm glad the friends showed up and they laughed.
Oh, no, there was nobody in the audience I knew.
Then I'm giving you some flowers because it was working.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Are all those jokes kind of burned now, though? Can you still use them?
You can use them on the road. If you can. I think you wouldn't want to necessarily do all those jokes. Luckily, I get tired of jokes pretty quickly. I actually ended my special with a joke I wrote that morning. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I wanted to figure out a way to bring back the first joke. And so I was like, usually I do it with like this exit road joke, but I did on something else. I didn't want to repeat it. I thought of that morning. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go with it. You gotta just trust my humor. And I was like, we'll see what happens. Other things too, we only shot it one time. Usually in comedy specials, you shoot 2-3 times. Then choose the best reactions, etc. So you only shot it one time. So that was like in the back of my head too, which kind of had to be a little bit more careful and like talk a little bit slower, make sure I'm enunciating everything because I'm only going to get to shoot it once. You know what I mean? And so that was like in the back of my head too, versus the freedom of knowing I have a second shot later. I don't have to really stress about it.
Are you a perfectionist?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, I just want I want it to be the best it can be, and I'm okay with the results. You know what I mean? That's all. Yeah, it was the best it could be, all things considered.
Are you proud of it?
I am proud of it. 100%. Definitely
right.
proud of it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm just checking.
I had a pimple. I had a pimple on my face.
You had what?
Pimple on my face too.
Stop it, dude.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows this. Like nobody. It's so funny.
No. It's just things you as an artist.
I get it.
You know, it's a moment in time that's there forever. I am proud of it. It's some jokes, like I said, was recent within a few weeks. Some jokes I've been doing for a very long time, but I strung them together to make it a set. And yeah, I'm very proud of it. Just want more people to watch it for sure. But the way it looks, the way it came out, I think it's a good snapshot into my type of humor and the things I like to do.
Look, man, as an artist, as a creator, which I think we both create,
Mhm.
right? And like, I think whether you're creating a business or like a business, an app, you're creating a family, like you get really, I know I use the word perfection, but we are like the most self-critical of ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And it's tough because I think sometimes it's hard for us to hear like, hey man, you did a great job. You know that that's not the shirt you wanted to wear.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't know, like no one would know that, but I think it becomes challenging for us sometimes to hear the feedback that's even positive because we are also like, if it's like a pie chart, like 95% of it worked, but I'm like that 5%,
Yeah.
could have made it like if it was your audience, if it was an LA crowd, if you didn't have a pimple, if the shirt was different. And like, we can like kind of list out all these. And I'm the same way. It's like, oh man, if Chinedu just opened up about this one thing on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's what has us produce, but I also ask myself, man, does that stuff does it hold us back? Like, does it get in the way more than we think it does?
I think it's pros and cons, right? I think on one end, it is positive to be kind of hypercritical a little bit. That's how jokes get better for me personally. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool. That laugh wasn't as strong as last time. Let me listen to the last show I did. Oh, the way I said it was different. Okay, cool. And then I'll try to remember that. Or how can I make this joke is already working? How can I make this joke even better? Right? So that helps in that sense. On the other end, I think it can slow you down if you're being like, oh, everything has to be like in a row before I start this project versus like, no, let's just start and then we'll figure it out on the way. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be more of that, not necessarily my stand-up with like other things I'm trying to do, to just kind of make my mistakes, but just action over perfection or action over prep. Like just act first, prep along the way. But yeah, just keep moving, keep acting, keep putting stuff out, whatever you need to do. And then you get the other things you need to get done to support it, to make it better along the way versus like, okay, I think everything's perfect. Now let's start. No, start and adjust, start and adjust, start and adjust.
When you said this earlier, like what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like silence, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think about other entrepreneurs when they start businesses, they're like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I go bankrupt.
Yeah.
7 years later, I try again.
Yeah.
And they're just like, move on. That's it. But for so many people, we won't even try because we're afraid of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like bombing's not an issue for you. Where you're at now, let's say you're between like good, excellent, and outstanding, where would you say your career has been thus far?
Career or like skill?
Career.
Career? I don't know. It's I've done everything I wanted to do, just not necessarily on the scale I want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I've put out a comedy album, put out special. I've worked with multiple TV networks. I've acted. I've been in movies. I've been podcasts. I won awards. I got nominated for an Emmy as a producer. You know what I mean? So I've done a lot of cool things. I traveled the world for free because of stand up. Very grateful for all that. Also helped a lot of people too along the way, which I'm also super proud of. So for me, career-wise, I think I'm right where I need to be. You know what I mean? I call it the waiting room, where my life could change drastically in one day. And because of one such like opportunity or whatever, something that just pops, and things can be very different very soon. So for that, I think I've succeeded in being able to put myself in a position for things to continue to grow, continue to happen. And I'm very proud of who I am after all of it as well.
Yeah.
Because I seen this business can take people under. This business can like make people bitter. This business can change your ways that it's not the best. So I'm also proud of like who I still am.
Yeah. Can you see what the gap is though for you between like where you are and where you want to be? You've been working on your, and I can relate to you in that, like working on the skill, working on the craft, often in silence when nobody looks. Like nobody knows how late we stay up to work on the things that we work on, right? Other than other people building shit, right?
Yeah.
But when you think about the gap or like the case, sometimes it can feel like this chasm. Like, man, like what is it? Have you been able to point at or kind of figure out what is in the?
Well, the business is changing while I'm in it, right? It's changing drastically. So it's hard to pinpoint one thing per se. I think things are moving. It's just more, I'm always focused on what I could be doing better. Because entertainment is one of the weird professions or way of life where you could do A, B, and C, but D is just not guaranteed. It is what it is, right? And I think if you can strive for D, right, or the thing you want, and be okay with it one day never happening, I think you can strive for it in the way the way you need to. You know what I mean? If you can be okay with like never getting the thing or the multiple things or whatever it might be, I think you really can't lose. You know?
Okay.
So that's why I always say like just enjoy the chase. I don't think it's like necessarily one thing that's holding me back. I'm always trying to focus on what I could be doing better. Like for example, just like not worrying about everything being the ducks lined up in a row. Just kind of get stuff out and do the next thing. Sometimes focusing. Sometimes when you're like a person that can do multiple things, it's not necessarily a positive thing, right? If you're a jack of all trades, you're pulling multiple boats at once versus mastering a boat to the utmost degree. And sometimes that can be more productive than trying to be like the multi-hyphenate that I'm just naturally am sometimes. So, but I enjoy that. So that's why I do it that way.
But if you don't get to D, like in your analogy, like ABC, we've been doing ABC. If you don't get to D, if you got to C, you don't get to D.
Yeah, we should change the letter.
Okay.
Yeah, if I don't get to F.
If you don't get to home, if you don't reach home plate.
They talking about.
All right, you better.
If you don't get the D, like if you never get the D, would you be like suicidal?
That's not what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like I know you want that.
I'm not,
I know you want the D.
But some
right?
people do commit suicide, right? That's what I'm saying is like,
No,
hey,
no,
will you still feel like a winner?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, to me, health is wealth, right? Like, not sound cheesy. Like, entertainment blessed me in so many ways. I've been to every state outside of maybe 2 or 3. I've been outside the country. You know, I've been able to buy a house because of the entertainment money that came to me. Just done a lot of cool. Met some of my comedy heroes. Worked with some of my comedy heroes. So, I'm good in terms of like, there's nothing. No one can like belittle me in my personal opinion in my head, right? So, I feel uber successful. I just have different goals that come. You know, when you establish, that's why I tell people enjoy the chase, because as soon as you get that thing you think you want, you're gonna want something else in 48 hours. So enjoy the chase, enjoy the road. You know what I mean? Go after what you want hard, but also sip that coffee slow. Stupid ass smell on your face.
That's my pen. I'm thinking. No, I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm like, it's hitting me too.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because I think that it's just hard, bro. Like, it's just always harder than it's always harder than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And here's kind of how I see it. When I'm working with clients, that's like the pinnacle. That's like the peak of what I do.
Yeah.
All the homework I have to do before that, and like the work and the ego, like it sucks, dude. Like your ego gets like fractured. You got to get so strong, and like that's the work, right? Like it's easy to be like, I love Ariana Grande because you just see her on stage. You don't see everything else that they have to go through to be Ariana Grande or Beyonce or whatever. So I think I'm just meeting you and like, yeah, I see you on stage, and I see obviously there's a pimple on your face that day and you're like kind of frustrated about that. But like, the hustle isn't that. Like the hustle, like you really have to enjoy the grind.
Yeah, you have to.
Of whatever that we do.
You gotta enjoy the grind because you're more likely to last that way. You just are. Like if you find, okay, cool, I gotta do this thing. Well, all right, bet. Well, I'm gonna do it in an environment I want to do it at. Or, just find different ways to just make it better. You got to work out a lot because you're an actor. Great. Okay. Well, shit. Continue to find great music that you love listening to. Watch your ESPN highlights in the gym. Like, just find ways to enjoy the stuff you don't necessarily want to do every single time, and you'll do it. You're more likely to do it more. It's just the small things, just winning the day. That's all it is, man. You win the day, you stack your wins, you stack your bricks. Next, you take a few steps back, you got a house.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's really that simple. Comedy, acting for sure, it's tricky because you talk about like getting your ego together. Because you audition and you submit something you worked really hard on, and you don't necessarily, usually you don't get feedback. Like, you just don't get feedback. And so you just submit this thing into the abyss and you never hear about it again if you don't book the job. And sometimes those jobs are not even genuinely open, to keep it a buck. Sometimes offers goes out to certain actors they actually want, and then they start auditioning in case those people don't want to do the thing because they are looking for people with notoriety. A lot of people with esteem and some fame behind them. So you can't take it personal, just a business. But you got to really fight hard not to take the attitude into the work and just genuinely do it for the love of it. And if something beautiful happens, great. But if not, great. You really got to approach it that way, or you might continue to do it, but you're going to lose yourself in it.
To send a like out on a dating app with a message, right? The girl doesn't respond back and say like, well, here's why I didn't like your profile, right?
Yeah.
You just never hear anything, right?
Sometimes it doesn't do with you. Nothing to do with you. It's like, actually, I'm not even single right now. I mean? I'm just happy to be on this app still. That type thing.
For
so
sure.
Yeah, so it's not, you can't.
For sure. But it'd be easy to make it about you.
Yeah. As an actor, you want the feedback to improve and that's the tough part. It's not want the feedback for like ego purposes. I genuinely want the feedback to improve, to get better, to hear different perspectives.
You just said something about win the day every day.
Mm-hmm.
And just before we wrap it, like what does that mean for you? Like, is there something you do to try to win the day every day?
I just think make a to-do list and try to prioritize it too. You can't just make a to-do list. You also got to okay, what's the most important thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Try to schedule like, okay, something you can't get done today, but you need to work on it. All right, cool. I'm gonna allocate 2 hours to just working on this. Even if it's just thinking about it. I'm gonna work on this for 2 hours. And so just making a list every single day and try to cross that stuff off. Just win the day. Do what you can, and when the night is over, that's it. Let it go. Can you hear that?
I think someone's singing next door. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna ask you one last question, man, because I've actually never asked this question on the show, but it's something I ask when I work with clients a lot. So if I gave you a magic wand, right? Because I know you're at like, all right, my career's been good. You travel the world. You got a house, like beautiful life, right? Not knocking anything you created.
Sure.
But if I gave you a magic wand, right, and you could like paint whatever picture you want in your life in 5 years from now, like what does Chinedu's life look like?
A magic wand, for sure. Very healthy. You got to be able to hear that, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. If I had a magic wand, for sure, I just want to be, very healthy, 5 years from now as well. I would like, just more opportunities to be creative in film and TV. Also like some of my own ideas, get them on air as well. Continue to do stand-up, continue to tour, continue to feed fans with my personal, style of humor as well. And just continue to just build things up and, kind of like plan for the future.
Yeah. I know it's hard to focus right now. So just for y'all know, you might not be able to hear it, but someone in the next studio over is like
definitely
clearly recording an audition.
Yeah.
But they are going for it.
He's going for it.
It's
bad.
Like I can feel the.
But you got to be bad to be good. And so I respect it.
It's bad.
No, it's bad. It's definitely bad.
They're going for it. They're taking the risk, man. Man, thank you for coming on today, man. I really appreciate you. How can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Chinedu Unaka. So it's Chin, EDU, UNAKA, United Nations. Also on YouTube, it's Chin Up Entertainment, Chin Up ENT. Man, come see me on the road, man. Check my website, ChineduUnaka.com, sign up for the mailing list, and see if I'm in your city.
Yep, I'll throw all that in the show notes, man. Thank you for coming on. We're going to wrap it up right there today so this person next door can keep singing without hearing our voices. Man, thank you for tuning in to another episode. If you like the content here, share it, like, subscribe. And until I see you next time, whatever you're going after, just send it.